Good morning, guys. This is an early morning stream here. Last time we actually missed some of the technical analysis which our friends requested, and we had some interruptions with the chat box and all. I didn't actually knew how to set up the chat box because that was my first live stream ever. So in this one we'll actually include the chart analysis for Dent, WET, ADA, Link, XLM, XRP, and usual say BTC, XLM, XRP, Ether, LTC, and others, along with WET, Dent, Cardano, that's ADA, and Link. So this is the first one we are going to look at, that is Chainlink. In this one, for Link, we are actually seeing a bit of uptrend. Now this is a daily chart of Link, and we are using just some lines to represent the resistance here at the top and the bottom and kind of the middle one. Now this is not the actual middle here. This is representing the resistance. As you can see, these points which are being resisted previously acted as support from this point onwards. So we are actually trying to connect those lines and make a support resistance trend line support here. So that actually gives us a bit more clarity on the trend. Now for this one, we can actually see that even though it's actually moving to the upside here, at this particular area we are having a previous resistance zone. If we actually extend this line, you can actually see we are having a previous resistance which is turned into support here. Now we were below, or we are currently below that. So if we zoom in, we can see that we are kind of flirting with that level and we haven't moved above that. We tried to wick above a bit, but we are still below that. But looking at this, what you can actually see is, like, if you zoom in, go into 4-hour chart, then hourly chart, it is actually kind of moving to the upside slowly. If you actually look at this, more or less looks like a flag pattern or rising wedge here. So the chances are that when we look at the same on a daily time frame, we may actually burst into this range. So if that happens, then for Chainlink, the upper resistance kind of moves around this area. You can see this point which was acting as a resistance previously, and these couple of points. Now yes, this does actually look like a double top, and the price actually went below the neckline and it achieved the target. Now it is coming back in. So if we are coming back into this range, then the target can be around 67%. So if I am to trade Chainlink here after the breakout, either I will be buying this breakout or I'll actually wait for the breakout, and once the breakout happens and retests and bounce, I'll be buying that bounce there. So it gives us more certainty when we are actually buying this at this particular level. Now that's for Chainlink. Now we'll actually jump into ADA, that's Cardano. Excuse me, guys. Cardano to US dollar. So as far as Cardano goes, what we can see is something like this in a longer time frame chart. Say for example, when we are looking at Cardano in this daily chart, we can actually see this is the long time horizontal support resistance area. I'll just change the color into a black one. I just did change that into black, but I don't know why it didn't change. Okay, anyway, I'll try to put another one there. I don't know, there is some issue there. Instead we'll select black. Yep, it's a thick line. Yes, you guys can see it was being resisted at this particular level previously. If we zoom in, you can actually see wicks there, right? It tried to go above that, kind of faked out, came back down, was testing that area, but once it actually blew that area, it skyrocketed. So in the similar aspect, when you look at here, it came back, it kind of dipped or faked out and then went back above, and now we actually came back even way below that, made a new low and went back above that. Now yes, considering that horizontal support level, it does look better, but the issue here is, how can I say, now guys, how does the stream actually look? I don't completely understand because I haven't checked it previously. It's not that good, right? The chat box is being a distraction for you guys. I'll try to sort that out, guys. Sorry. If you guys are watching this, do let me know, is this okay? Is this okay? Like, I just actually wanted to understand how the chat thing is going, so that if someone is actually requesting me any more charts, I don't miss those. Okay, coming back into the chart, we are, even though we are above this horizontal support level, the issue is we are actually making that similar pattern to that of XRP and other major coins. We came down, and we are kind of retracing the mother candle or the main candle here. You can consider this as a main candle. Even though we have a green bar here, we can still consider this as a long candle because the volume was too high and it came too low in that fluctuation. So the momentum was too high towards this side of this trend here, and we are still retracing into that, and we haven't managed to close above this one. So that looks like the possibility is like say the price will be moving up like this, and then the chances are that once it breaks, it may come back and test this low. Now when we actually say that, you actually have to keep in mind that this low here and this low here, if you are just considering in terms of price points, this is a lower low. But if you actually look at the RSI at the bottom here, for this one we got this one, and for this low of 0.02074 Cardano, we got it here on RSI. So that's kind of a higher low if we compare this one on RSI. So comparing the RSI and the price, that is kind of a bit bullish sign that buyers are coming in and the underlying strength is kind of building up for Cardano. Now we'll actually move on to Dent. Now, being frank, I haven't even heard about this coin previously. When one of my viewers actually suggested, please have a look at this, what we think about this one. Then I thought, yeah, actually we'll see. And when I actually went through that, this is what I saw. So this first line here is support resistance level. It was being resistance previously, then turned into a support. Price came below that. Now we are supporting, we were actually getting supported this level. That's the second line here. But what you have to see is we just broke below that and we are still below that. So that is kind of a bit of bearish symbol there. But considering this previous low and this previous low is similar to that of Cardano, what you can see is the RSI is actually trending a bit up. So the underlying strength in the market is kind of building up. But I'll say this, even though that's happening, we can actually expect the price to actually move a bit lower, kind of repeat this, and then after touching that area, it may retest this area. So the retest won't be directly like bouncing in here. It can be like more or less coming to that area, kind of consolidating at that area. See, I'll just take this polyline, consolidating at that area and then moving above and retesting a couple of times and then moving ahead. So the chances are that it's gonna do that. I messed up. Okay, so that's for Dent in the longer time frame. If we actually zoom in for Dent, what we can see is we are still managing that trend line. If we put this here, if we follow the trend more closely in a 4-hour time frame, we actually get something like this, which is more or less similar to that of XRP, what we are getting in XRP right now. So this is also bearish, showing that we are moving below that trend line support. So a fall is kind of near. Now from Dent, we'll actually move on to VeChain, because many of my viewers actually requested for VeChain. So if we are looking at VeChain on currently, we'll actually move into a daily chart. Okay, this is VeChain on a daily chart, and what we can see is something like this. So if we put another line, kind of a resistance line here, the price was actually being resisted at this particular level. Say it was, if we connect this, say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 touches, that makes kind of that level much more valid, or it gives that level more validity there. So in that aspect, what we can see is that the price is moving in this range, and currently we are through the midway, like in the sense, if you take a middle line for this trend, the downward channel, we get like the price is around or just above that middle portion. So if we are to bounce from this level, then we can actually look to around 0.0057 for VeChain. So from the current price point, it will be a rise of around 70%. So now when we actually seeing the chances for a 60 to 70% rise in Link and VeChain, that kind of highlights that the small cap altcoins may actually start to bounce. I'm not talking about the large cap altcoins like XRP, Ether and all, because there we are actually seeing a lower momentum. The chances are that the price may go a bit lower there. But here on small cap altcoins, we are actually seeing something like this. The chances are that it may bounce, because if you actually zoom in, say go into a 12-hour chart for VeChain, what you see here is the price is moving similar to that of XRP, I agree, but here you're actually getting a flag pattern, say a bullish flag here. So the chances are if we manage to break about this particular level here, then we may bounce to this resistance level. Now we'll actually jump into XRP chart and check how that is actually reflecting. In the meantime, I'll check if I have any comments. That's the only one comment I received from Jordan. Thank you. You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome, Jordan. You're welcome. And thank you for streaming in, because this is my first stream at this time in the morning, and I'm not actually sure how many of you guys will be online to see this right now. So yeah, what I can do with this is I'll minimize this so there is no interruption with the charts. Okay, so this is XRP on a 12-hour time frame. So when we actually zoom out, what we see is this one. Say if we do a similar analysis here and connect this price point here and the RSI here along with all the bottom touches, like this one here, the bottom here, the RSI, then again these, the RSI, then this, the RSI, and here we kind of get something like this in the RSI and the price point. So in the RSI, these are kind of a horizontal pattern, like most of the oversold area. So these oversold area usually points us that the price may actually get a bounce there. But the issue here for XRP is if we actually draw a line connecting all the resistance line from this area, you can see 1, 2, 3, and we are moving like this, right? The resistance lies here and the price went above that. Currently we are making that area a support again and again. We haven't actually managed to break above that, but if we actually draw it like this, we still have room to go. Oh yeah, I'll just delete the first one. You guys got the point. So if we actually draw this one, we actually get the line like this. More or less, it's being, say, it tried here once. Okay, I'll zoom in. It came to this level, tried that level, came back below, and then bursted through that. So this is a resistance there. Once it broke above that and it came back down, it's acting as a support. So that's kind of validating 2 points for that line. And as we move on, we can see another touches here, 1, 2, 3, and a try here, 4, then in this area 5. So if we are actually breaking up above, then yes, we do have a chance like the small altcoins to reach here. But the issue is we also have an overhead resistance line for XRP like this one. So that's also kind of a smaller trend within that major trend there, kind of making the price coil up here. So if we actually zoom in, we can actually see that, say, this price level, if we actually break through this, yes, we have a possibility that we may move till around 0.27. And if we do that, kind of it turns into a bit of bullish momentum. Say we are currently in a bearish pattern or a bearish trend, and if we move like this, that's like a bullish rally in a bearish trend. So that's how usually the trend changes from bearish towards being bullish. So if we actually look at this, say we zoom in into a 2-hour chart of XRP, and in the 2-hour chart of XRP we can see something similar like we just talked about previously in the small cap altcoins. We are actually moving like this, and currently, as I told yesterday, the price hasn't much reflected from that point. It is still maintaining this horizontal level, meaning this was a previous resistance and currently it's acting as a support. So if we are getting a bounce here, keep this in mind that even if we are getting a bounce, this previous support area and resistance area will be intact. So unless until we move back in, this is showing you that there is a possibility of the price coming back down. So if that happens in an overall trend, say when you zoom back out, you can see this. If that's happening, then the chances are that we may actually come down till this point. So actually I have other couple of news along with these, which we'll actually cover in this stream. I'll just try to play this one from the beginning for you guys. I'll just check whether the volume for computers up. Yes, it looks up. So I'll just play this and get a cup of coffee. It's not much of time, say just 30 second, 40 second. I'll just have a cup of coffee here. I just have to heat it. It's early morning here. I actually woke up around 4:30 to do this stream in the morning, and this around 5:50 a.m. here in the South Korea. So I think this is actually informational, and you guys will get value from that.
So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A. The way in which I can take a $20 bill and hand it over to you, then there's no record of where it came from. And you may get that without knowing who I am. That kind of thing will develop on the internet, and that will make it even easier for people to use the internet. Of course, it has its negative side. It means that the gangsters, the people who are engaged in illegal transactions, will also have an easier way to carry on their business.
So in this one, what he actually talked about at the end is kind of an indication that the privacy coins and the coins which cannot be regulated properly by governments can actually have some issues at that particular point. So that is where a regulated asset like XRP comes into play. Like regulated in the sense, most of the financial institutions like banks, payment providers and all the endpoints for XRP is regulated. Now they are even pushing it for more regulation. So as the regulatory clarity comes in, this is going to be the digital asset or the new infrastructure for the future financial system. Now we'll just check the comment section. Yeah, surprisingly there are some new buddies. DR Roxo, glad to see you doing a live while I'm awake. Cool buddy, cool. Hello my brother, laptop running super fast now. Hi Crypto 6 Food, you're still awake, huh buddy? Actually, which is your time frame? I mean, on which time zone you are? Because yesterday night when I did my first live stream, he actually was online and he helped me a lot, because my computer was running really slow at that time. Then I tried to clean up my disks and all. Then I'm now live. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for waking up early. Yes, buddy. I'm kind of an early man, and I am not that good in maintaining my night. Being a night owl is not the thing for me. I usually wake up early in the morning, say around 4:30, 4:45. But today, it's just I'm changing that my workout routine here to the streaming routine. So anyway, so this article is actually showing Ripple executive says automation, machine learning and digital assets transforming international payments. Now, as we know that the payments infrastructure is being changed, but what you have to get here is the quote here. This is kind of an important factor here. In the last 5 years, the payments industry has seen greater change and disruption than it has seen in the previous 30 years. Now we know why they are using that, right? For instance, in UK and elsewhere in Europe, card payments have now overtaken cash for the first time ever. And in light of coronavirus, the contactless transaction limit is being raised to support a decline in willingness to physically carry a paper money. Now this is in the sense that in China and other places, they are actually understanding that physical cash can also carry virus. So they're trying to clean this up, go everything in a digital mode. But when they are actually talking about going into a digital mode, and when we see US talking about this, say for example in US we were actually seeing Judy Shelton coming out and talking about gold standard, right? Talking about let's move into a gold standard and all. Now this is my Twitter feed. I was actually searching for a post in which it was clearly mentioned about that. but now I can't actually see that. Anyway, we actually seen something similar going on in India. There's actually a new article from Reuters shown in Yahoo Finance. That's today, April the 14th. Now it's actually April the 14th here in South Korea. So India to issue sovereign gold bonds with interest rate of 2.5%. Now, yes, being an Indian, 2.5% doesn't actually look cool to me, because usually our interest rate is much higher. Say if you're putting that in your bank, usually we used to get 7%, 8%, 10% previously, but now it's actually reducing. We are not getting much of that in terms of interest rate. Now it's actually coming down year by year. And now as the economy is going down, and Indians have a lot of gold in them, but most of them is not actually owned by the Reserve Bank. Instead, it's actually owned by a housewife or the women in India, because many of them are actually crazy for gold, and jewelry, gold jewelry precisely, is of high demand in India. So now they're actually moving towards that, issuing a gold bond. So if India, a small country, I mean, in the sense of GDP, is actually doing that, then you can imagine how the other giants economically will continue. Now, there's another article actually showing this, that the price is actually going down, and as the price is going down, it's continuing that momentum. It's not actually keeping up or moving to the upside. So here it's showing one on the upside. Bitcoin's current price is still a significant improvement from where we stood in the previous area. Now, yes, we can actually check the chart of Bitcoin in that aspect, because I just missed checking out a Bitcoin chart. So we'll just see how Bitcoin chart is actually reflecting here with all these news and the price. So this is the XRP chart. From there we'll actually maneuver to BTC. And in the BTC chart, what we can currently see here is it's actually same pattern is forming here in a shorter time frame chart. Now if we actually zoom out to see the entire trend, let us see how it is reflecting. Now, at least for my eyes, it looks like the RSI is actually trending kind of lower, and the price is actually moving to the downside there. If you draw the line like this, now it depends upon how you draw the line, but for me it looks like this. We actually being supported here on this particular level. The price is repeatedly testing or respecting this particular trend line, so we can validate that that level is kind of going to hold on. Now this level is also there. We just came above this particular channel. We went above once, but it was kind of a long fake out, and we came back in. Now we are slowly grinding up above. So if we zoom in, we can actually see, even if we are dropping, then if we can maintain this area and bounce from here, that's gonna be, if Bitcoin bounces, as majority considers this as the king of crypto, that helps other cryptos as well. Majority of the cryptos will be moving up from that point. Now this is from Calisthenics Wade. Buddy, I'm not from a financial background guy. I'm an engineering guy. I did my bachelor's in civil engineering from India. Then I did my master's in construction project management from Scotland, UK. Then currently I'm doing my PhD in civil engineering, precisely concentrated in construction management in South Korea. But yes, from last 5 years, crypto and for investing, say initially was actually, being frank, trading forex, USD, JPY, Euro, USD kind of thing, and that's how I actually learned how to do the chart. So with that, around early 2017, I moved into crypto asset, and that time it was mainly Ethereum, XRP and BTC combined. And then I was checking out the fundamentals, not only the technical side, because when we are looking at investing for longer time frame, we should actually know the fundamental. But the issue was, during that time I was really newbie for investing, just around 1 year in the trading arena. I wasn't that much on to holding on to an asset during that time. So what I did was like buy today morning, sell the night, or hold just 1 or 2 days, take out the profit. So I was not a holder. I missed out long profits. Now What do you think on Minerium and Kick token airdrops? Now, I haven't actually heard about those coins, so I'll actually check out. Crypto 6 foot. It's 5 p.m. right now in Florida. So that's a coffee time for you guys too, right? Evening. Oh wow, that's great for you guys. It's an eve, and for me, the sun is actually coming out. I'm on PST, weak coast of Canada. Last upload was 5 a.m. this morning. Cool. A mental workout. Yes, buddy. This is more like a mental workout. Now, yes, we'll just jump back into the chart without wasting time. Then I'll actually come back, check the messages again. So here, when we're actually looking for Bitcoin, if the price is actually bouncing here, that can actually take the altcoins as well to the upside. But at the same time, if you're actually zooming out, say going into a weekly chart of BTC, we actually get this. That is kind of a not that bad symbol, because here the price is actually keeping up. Because if it's only majority of us who will be looking at the price like this, say if we actually look at the price in this manner, we are getting that same effect here in RSI and the price. So the strength is still there, and if you connect these lines, now this is when you actually look at the chart like this, zoomed out on a weekly, you get this. Still we are in the upside move. Now why I say that, because if you look at the longer time frame trend for entire crypto market, you get something like this, like the price is moving to the upside, then it's consolidating a bit. So zooming out, what do you see? Now, at least what I see here is we break out, we go like this. Now, yes, many won't agree that it's going to 50,000, 100,000 or 200,000. But the possibility is that it's not about what I believe, it's not about what you believe, it's about what the world thinks about this asset, right? If they are thinking that this is a store of value, then the chances are that at least it will move. Say if they are calling for $1 million Bitcoin, it may actually move around 100, 200,000 Bitcoin. Now, as there is an issue with the energy consumption for this asset, now that's the fundamental side, not the technical side. If you're looking at the technical side, this is what is relevant for BTC. Now, it's not that I'm saying the price is going to break out at this price point and this time point. I'm saying when the price actually break out, then the chances are that. And until that point, what you have to understand is if the price is actually moving within this range, then the chances are it may move like this until it breaks out. So that should be kept in mind. If this pattern is being followed from last 1 year, the chances are it is going to follow the same pattern unless it breaks above or below. Now, some are actually asking me about Ethereum, so we'll jump into Ethereum. So in Ethereum as well, we can actually see a similar trend in a longer time frame chart. Just one difference is this one. We actually came substantially low here and then bounced a bit, and we are currently in that area. So we can actually consider, if you put that as a rectangular resistance and buy zone, you can actually see this is kind of a buying zone, or we can call it as a reaccumulation phase. Now, why we say it's a huge reaccumulation phase? Because from this bottom previously to this upside for Ethereum, it went up substantially. You can see that the price actually came around 23,000 upside. So that makes 23,000 in a year is too much for traditional investors. So when they're actually thinking on that, this consolidation is nothing. Because have you ever checked the chart of silver? You can actually see that the chart of silver went from the bottom and skyrocketed to $50, and currently it came back below and touched around $12 and trading around $15, $16 now. And it's in a consolidation. It was in a consolidation, or it is in a consolidation phase from last 7-8 years, guys. So yes, that is a commodity and traded on many different exchanges and physically. So we can't directly compare that, but considering the chart pattern, we can actually see this. Now I'm checking back at the messages. How much is Wazir X being used in India? What coin is being pushed in India? Basically, that's from Croy 151. Thank you very for the question. In India, as far as I know, it's more or less crypto entirely is considered as a Ponzi scheme. Now, it's not because of the clarity there, but the politicians are coming out and stating that this is a Ponzi scheme, don't put your money in. If you put your money in, you're going to lose that. So that actually creates a bad sense for individuals, because most of them are not actually that much into this kind of technology. But the young guys and the investors, the smart money, there'll always be 10% of smart money, right? They actually majority looking in BTC and XRP as far as I know, because for BTC, they are looking to evade tax, jump into BTC, put it there. They're looking at it like a Swiss bank account. But for XRP, they are doing the investments based on the investment, the fundamentals there. As the banks in India itself are actually going in with a company which is working with XRP, that's a Ripple. They actually think that there is something between Ripple and XRP. Like if you buy Ripple, you get the profits from Ripple when it makes. It doesn't make sense, but yes, as I believe, Ripple, the company, is also holding XRP. So turn down the music. Oh, buddy, wait. Is there any music being played? I'm confused, buddy. I'm confused now, because I wasn't actually playing any music in the background. Mark, I actually didn't get that. Guys, is there any music in the background? Okay, now coming back, according to Google search trends, the interest in Bitcoin is much higher because of the halving, and the current EVE is there. Then Fed is printing unlimited money. Yeah, I agree. No, it's not only Fed, the governments, central banks across the world is actually doing that. I wonder what's going to happen. It's an interesting time now. It's interesting time for those who are like us, who are ready with some dry powder and already accumulated some of the digital assets, which is actually going to go to the high. Now again, boom will come on with Tezos project and the lawsuits. I haven't actually checked up on the lawsuits there for Tezos, but the confirmation is actually coming out from my friends. Droxo saying there is no music. Roy Calisthenics Wade, CM brother, thank you buddy, thank you. Crypto 6 foot, thank you buddy, thank you. So we'll actually check at Tezos. Even though many or no one actually asked about Tezos chart, but I just saw from one of my friends asking about the fundamentals of Tezos, so I just thought we'll actually check what the chart is actually doing. Compared to other assets, I haven't actually previously checked this from at least 2 months, but this is moving in an uptrend. That is interesting, because I only have around 1% or so, below 1% of my funds allocated to this asset, and currently it is in a uptrend. If you consider these points, say this support, this resistance, and extend it, this is kind of moving to the upside. So the chances are either it may move here or here. So we'll actually go zoom into that chart, say move into a daily chart of Tezos, and the daily chart of Tezos looks something like this. Again, it's moving in that line. The trend is higher, but the horizontal support line, we'll actually check where the price is related to that. See, this is a horizontal resistance line previously. Here it was acting as a support. You can see clearly it's a support here, it's a support here. Then it turned into a resistance here. Again, resistance, again. Now it actually went through that. So currently it's holding above that particular level. So that's kind of bullish if it can actually hold that line. Then what it indicates is like at least there can be a price bounce. The possibility of a price bounce like this till here, this level. You see this level? Is actually relevant there, and if we manage to test that couple of times and break above, then this upper area comes into play. So the chances are we may actually retest that area, or at least play around in that area for some time. So yes, what I meant by that is Tezos has upside, and if you consider that in terms of percentage from where we are now, say if we move to the top, that will be 100% rise. And if we are moving till this support area, previous support which will be acting as a resistance, that's around 35-36%. So at least a 30% to 100% gain is actually possible for Tezos there in that daily time frame. So in order to understand what's happening in a shorter time frame, we can actually move in closer and check in what's happening on Tezos for that time frame. That is it's different than XRP. We just saw that XRP was moving like this, but it actually came below this support level and it tried that level once, went back below, tried that again and went back below. So for XRP, that's a bit bearish in the shorter time frame, but whereas for Tezos, it's still holding on to this particular level and it broke above this. So if we actually measure the target of this particular pattern here for Tezos, and now this is on a 2-hour chart. If we take it to the top here, the upside is still there. If this pattern is to be measured and the measured move comes around somewhere near 0.247, say 80% of that will be occurred, around 0.23 should be occurred. So in that aspect, what is left for Tezos from that area to say 80% of that is around 20% upside is still remaining for that. But as we are retesting the support line there, we may actually get a trend like this. This entire thing may actually act as a bullish pennant or a bullish flag. It's not actually a flag there, but we can see that as a correction like this. The price is moving to the upside like this and then correcting, then it may move to the upside. So if it is actually breaking above this particular level, then that means we may actually achieve the 100% target of the first price point. Now we'll just check back to the chat. You found out how to display your comments separately. No music. Thank you very. It's good to have Tezos for passive rewards, especially if it explodes to $100. You can stake Tezos on Coinbase. Currently it's 23:15 CEST. Thank you all for actually tuning into this one, because I'm not usually a live stream guy, and I thought, if I'm coming live, at least I can actually do the chart analysis for whatever assets they ask, because mostly I'm actually concentrated on XRP, Bitcoin and Ether, and 99% on XRP. I was not able to actually do this for my friends, but they were actually asking in the comment section of many of my videos to do technical analysis on VeChain, Dent, Cardano and all. So I thought I could actually come live like this. So whatever you do, I can actually try to do the technical analysis for you guys. So 6% April paid out every 3 days. Very good analysis, thank you. Staking on Ledger Nano X is better, they don't take fees. Now I agree that, because if you're a long-term holder, then paying fees for say 6 months, a year, 2 year, 3 year doesn't actually make sense. VT went to all-time high. That's rich, buddy. If you say that, what I would like to highlight is, say, if you just look at the chart of VeChain. Now the technical, it's different that the technical of VeChain is kind of moving this way, but my issue for VeChain here is that it's not about it's moving in a bearish channel from a long time, because most of the crypto assets are actually moving bearish. But I'm not that great fan of China, and currently I see a lot of partnerships for VeChain with China. So that makes me kind of think, will the world adopt that, or just the China and its allies, say Russia, North Korea and all, because they will not be that huge in terms of the entire financial market if you're looking at the total money which has to be in that blockchain. Because based on currently what's happening around the world, I don't think something used by China or Chinese majority will play a role in the longer time frame. And that's the reason why I'm reducing my Ethereum and BTC exposure and trying to gain much more XRP and a bit of XLM, because that actually shows a much more upside. So if you actually consider here in this coin trader, we don't have the charts before this, so I can't actually measure the upside movement for VeChain previously, so I'm not actually going to comment on that one, because what I was actually checking out was, say for example, this is XLM's chart. We have actually done this once before, so measuring the movement from the bottom to the top. So for say XLM, it was around it's not 80,000 if we actually be precise. It was around 76,000 percentage. So if you're actually considering the ROI, what you have to look is the bottom. And when I mean the bottom, it's the absolute bottom of that cycle. Yes, I know majority of us won't be able to catch that bottom, but the thing is, if we can average down somewhere near, we get this. And if we actually try to check the same for XRP and then compare how much values are retained, because the ROI and value retainment is different. If you actually look at the ROI, that's XRP 8. I made a mistake, guys. Sorry about that. We'll go in XRP USD. So say this one is the bottom of XRP during that cycle, and from the bottom to the top we came around 140,000 percentage. But the point here is we didn't maintain that value, right? So considering the start of the cycle or the bottom, it's up to you. You can actually check, say the bottom of the cycle, considering where we are right now, it's 7,000 percentage of value retained. Now that's not a bad thing. Now if you look at somewhere here, say most of you guys or most of them in during that cycle came here, it's around 3,000 percentage of value retained. Now if you look at the bottom there, you can see it's around 2,000 percentage value retained. So if you actually compare the same with Ether, there is a difference. Yeah, even though the return on your investment from the bottom to the top there during the same time frame there, say for that particular cycle, was around 22,000 percentage. If you actually take the value retained in the bottom of the cycle, the bottom is here, right? Yeah, the bottom is here. And where was the starting point for XRP we checked? I mean, in the time frame we checked it early, no, it was around 2015 early. So we should be looking at the same time frame. Like if we are to compare something, it should be on a fair basis, right? So we don't have the starting point there, but still, say the ROI on Ethereum is something like this. Come on, the chart is not moving. From same time frame you get like 340,000 percentage, and if you consider the value retained, you get something like this, 20,000 percentage of value is actually retained. So that gives a higher ROI here, and considering that. But what you have to keep in mind is Ethereum just came into circulation during that time. You can actually buy it from that time, and it started the bounce. So considering that, at least on the value retainment perspective, Ethereum is still valid. But the reason I'm reducing my Ethereum exposure is because of the Chinese issue. Now, yes, that doesn't make sense for many of you guys, but when I'm looking at it, US is talking about that. Guys, this is actually my Twitter account. If you guys have Twitter, if you are in Twitter, I mean most of you guys will be in the Western world. So this is my profile. If you guys would like to follow me, the Twitter feed is XRPDNI1. So that's XRP Danny. So XRP underscore Danny. You can actually follow me and support the channel as well, because when I do the videos, I actually post it here in the Twitter. So yeah, the reason coming back to that is say for example, currently including Brad Garlinghouse and others, they are actually stating it on a stage where you have regulators, bankers, central bankers, and large financial institution guys. They're directly stating that these two coins are actually continuously used by China. They are doing this mining. They are controlling the majority of mining power. They can actually control this. So in that aspect, what you can think is what you can think is the world is not gonna go through some assets which can be controlled or at least altered by Chinese authorities. How much is the price of BTC tied to S&P 500? Calisthenics Wade. Brother, what I think is currently, when gold and the stock market is considered, when stock is going down, gold is kind of going a bit up. So in that aspect, say what we can expect there is BTC should actually correlate positively. Say when S&P is going down, it should actually come down, because this it's not only about being a safe haven asset at that particular point, because if you look at the charts and compare the charts for S&P and gold during the previous recession of say 2007 to 2011, what you can see is initially gold was actually having a positive correlation with the stock market. It was going down along with the stock market, and once it bottomed and the stock market was starting to consolidate at the bottom, stock market remained there for a long time, around 8 months or 1 year, before it started grinding up. But during that consolidation phase, gold just went skyrocketing. So that's what I'm looking. If people are looking at store of value perspective, then the chances are that it may happen. Now, when we say store of value is not something just a store of value just for being store of value, right? If you look at gold, you have use cases, at least for jewelry, at least even if we say it mockingly, but still what you can see is, say, for dentistry, they are actually using that. Okay, Sal Jaffer is saying hi buddy, and he's asking for XRP, Link, Tesos and XLM. Buddy, I actually did that, so I think now I don't actually know if you guys can actually scroll back to the video and check what was done previously, or I think at least once the stream is over, you guys can actually check what went there. Now, so much fake Droxo, buddy, I want to highlight that point, because when you say so much fake stuff out of China, in India, we used to say that if it is made in China, don't buy it, it's from China. But after this one, the virus issue around the world, I'll say they'll have to, or at least I'll have to change my perspective. They just created something, or at least gave the world something which lasts long, right? It is hitting all around the globe. It is, at least in my country, India, now it is actually increasing. The total number is now around, say, near 10,000. And where I am now is South Korea. It's also somewhere around 10,000, but South Korea kind of maintained the curve. They actually dropped it, kicked that numbers down. So I think they are getting above the coronavirus issue here. The normal lifestyle is actually going on. Everyone is going out, and the time was actually 6:25. I have to actually, usually I move to my university around 8:30, but before that I have to first cook my breakfast, then cook my lunch, because I take in the tiffin and take it to my university. Because I come back around 6:30 again, wash my all the dishes, then do my cooking for dinner, talk to my family, blah blah blah. Anyway, my top 2 XRP channels are Scientific Investor and Crypto Airy. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, because that's huge for me. Crypto Airy is someone who's been in this area for a long time, and I'm still a big fan of her. I watch her content. I appreciate what she does, and it is like, she's from Japan, right? And the reason initially I started to follow her is because she's from Japan, and she can get much more news from there. She can translate majority of the Japanese articles from SBI. As SBI was highly into XRP, I was a great fan of her, and I'm still watching her content. I do consume a lot of content when I'm free, say while I'm having my breakfast, dinner and all. I usually used to check out mainly being precise. Now, this is not to offend other YouTubers if they notice this, but mainly Digital Asset Investor, Alex Cobb, Crypto Airy, and there is another channel named as Crypto Revolution. If you guys haven't checked it out, you can actually do that, because that's actually done by Chris, and his technical analysis is really good. I used to actually think most of the chart and patterns analyzed by Chris is actually cool. If you actually want to see some of the Now, yes, Chris is a kind of a Bitcoin guy, but what he does is he actually will go through almost all the different assets, mainly the small cap altcoins when the chances are high for them to burst. So he shows you different patterns and all. It's not like I'm engrossing in, but I really appreciate his technical analysis. So coming back, I really watch or consume the content from Digital Asset Investor, Kevin Cage, Crypto Airy, Crypto Revolution, then the Bearable Bull sometimes, and then there are other channels too, but it's not like I'm trying to offend you guys, but these are the channels which usually come and pop up in my subscription screen, and I watch them. So now when I was actually looking through them, what I thought is some actually show you just the news and updates, some just show you the technical analysis, and no one actually talks about what is the research looking at, what is the research being funded by, because most of the time when the researchers are doing the research, it is funded by either by the governments or the universities. So the reason they are doing it is strong, right? they actually continue to do that for a reason. So in that case, I thought, being a researcher, I can go through the research articles, find them, just dive into the methodology, and for that, as I'm going out of the stream, I'll try to give you guys a perspective, because for you guys it's still the night is still so long, right? So if you actually want to check that, what I'll suggest is go into Google Scholar. So that is an option for finding scholarly articles, which actually gives you the idea of who's doing the research and for what. So I'll just give you an idea how to do that. So for example, you're coming into Google Scholar, and say you're looking at how XRP is doing. Just type in XRP. It's mainly for remittance, right? Remittance, and type in. Now give a time frame, say from 2016 2017. You can actually set the range where you want. Now you can actually see a lot of articles coming in with that perspective. You can actually go through them. And when these are happening, what you have to actually understand is some of the articles give the acknowledgement. When you move to the bottom of that article, it will be showing that the article is funded by this institution, or the article is done by this university for this reason. So for example, this is an article shows that stablecoins blockchain exploring digital money solutions for remittance and inclusive economies. Okay, so if you actually look at that, you can see this is a conference held in USA, so they are really into this. So it was posted end of 2019. So let me see if I can check. Okay, now that this is abstract. Now I don't know how many of you guys will be interested in this, but say this is abstract. In this one, first couple of areas, you can a couple of lines or those you can actually skip, because that would be like a background and a motivation why they are doing the research. What is important for us is what they did, say the methodology, and what they found, and what they recommend. So here in this paper, we consider remittance operation with and without cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies in general, and present the pros and cons of Libra for cross-border payments of money transfers. So this is after Libra, they're considering that. Okay, we also present a brief discussion on blah 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 blah. Okay, a recent announcement on new cryptocurrency Libra by Facebook may be one such candidate. Even Facebook has vast blah 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 blah. Now yes, they're actually looking at this. Now, as I told yesterday, there is a bit of issue with the research publication is that it takes a long time. Say once I'm doing the research, I'm writing the manuscript, I'm submitting it to a journal, it takes like 1 year to 2 years to get it published. They give comment, the experts review it, give comment, then I'm doing the same, so it takes more time. So they don't have that. Now when we actually go through the next one, there are at least 2 well-known cryptocurrency companies, Ripple and Stellar, that help in near instantaneous digital fund transfers for a tiny fraction of fees charged by banking industry and other transfer operators. Now guys, why this is so important? When they're actually talking about all these stuff, say Libra or Ripple and Stellar, this is like the research industry or the financial industry, the traditional industry is actually looking at these assets for remittance, you see. So in that aspect, long-term value proposition for Ripple and Stellar is still valid. So that's the reason I told you, if you just listened 10 minutes before, I told, like, I'm trying to reduce my exposure for BTC and Ethereum. Yeah, I only have 15% of all those coins. 85% was previously XRP. Now I'm trying to increase it to go around 90-95%, majority XRP, and then 5% of XLM. Now this is another article comparing the Ripple versus Swift thing. You can actually go through this. If you go at the bottom, you can see the methodology, what they did and what they found. So if you don't want to compare them, it's okay, don't go to the comparison thing, just directly go to the results area. There will be a result section here. There should be usually there is a result section in most of my article, at least. What is this, brother? Okay, anyway, just jump into the conclusion. They'll say what they did and what they found. As such, Swift can still lead the cross-border remittance market over Ripple in a shorter term. I see, on a short term. On the other hand, Ripple system using cryptocurrency and distributed ledgers challenging Swift to dramatically improve their remittance service to benefit customers. These benefits include real-time delivery of 24/7 service at low transaction fees. New systems like Ripple inevitably change the landscape for cross-border. Now you see this next 5 to 10 years they are looking at this, and the issue is, I don't know how many of you guys agree with that perspective of 5 to 10 years, but I'm really into that. I'm even looking at like next 20 years, because that's actually possible. I think that is gonna happen. Now guys, this is kind of around 6:30 now, and now this is my boy. He's now around 5 months old, and his name is Adam. So Easter wishes from Adam, you guys. That's my Easter bunny there. So guys, I'm gonna end this stream. I don't know how many of you are still watching. I'll just check here, because I'm not that good in the live streaming thing. This is my nearly second, not nearly, exactly second. Oh, I'm offline. Am I really offline? I'm confused, because I was actually thinking that I'm not offline and I was streaming. Brrr. Now that is a confusion for me. No, I think I'm online, right? Yeah, I'm online. Sorry for the confusion, buddy. Sorry for the confusion. So yes, thank you, Roxo. Thank you. Happy Easter to you and your family. CM brother, thank you, buddy. Thank you for the confirmation. Now, brother, it's time for me to run, because now if you guys want to support me in any sense, you can just go into the same Google Scholar. Now this is not anything financial, right? This is just based on the research aspect. If you go into this one, you can this is one of my article published in international journal named as Journal of Cleaner Prediction, which is highly reputable in our research field. Say the top 10 in the world. Top 10. When I say top 10, it's really difficult to get through that, and this was my first publication, and it took 2 years to get this paper done. Now yes, one of my, with the God's help, I used to say one thing. I don't know how many of you are Christians, but my father taught me that if God stands with you, if the Christ is with you, no one can push you to the side. You will be standing there. If Christ open a door, no one can actually close that. So in that aspect, I was working hard on this topic, and first article got published 2 months back, and now yeah, the date you see here is like in future. That's online publication, but the hard version, the soft version was available back in January. Now the next one is almost at acceptance, and hopefully in 1 month that will also be published, and I'm working on the third one and fourth one currently. Now you guys can understand if you got any idea about research by the time. Now okay, anyway, this is the topic based on particulate matter generated from the construction industry, and why this is important. This is just not cryptocurrency and all, health perspective. This is really important because in 2020 there is a new article showing that 75% of all the particulate matters in the environment is produced from the construction process. So if you can't control construction processes, it's gonna be so bad. Say for example, you have a construction site 2 kilometers away from you. Say you have a construction site 2 kilometers away from you. So will you actually use a face mask? No, right? You'll think, come on, that's 2 kilometers ahead. But there are fine and ultra fine microparticles which you can't see. It's coming way far from there, because if you consider PM 2.5 or low, the fine and ultra fine particle, they have a suspension time of up to 2 days. So with the wind, they can actually come here. So the issue is, it's not generally based on what it is, because the toxins inside the construction dust is too much. It has silica, it has a lot of other chemicals which may cause health issues, long lasting health issues, even premature death. Now okay, anyway, this is my article. If you guys want to go through that, it's okay. Otherwise, no offense, you don't have to waste your time on that. So guys, I'm gonna end the live stream here, and thank you all for actually checking this fully and supporting me. Again, thank you for all of you guys who are actually supporting in the comment section and providing me Crypto 6 Foot. I'll read it and review it. Buddy, don't review it. There will be a lot of mistakes. I hope. Yes, I spend a lot of time for that, but you can actually go through that and inform me what's wrong. So from the next writing I can actually understand that. And keep this in mind, I'm not a native English speaker, so there will be language issues, syntax or grammar issues, but I try my maximum to review, proofread it 3-4 times and reduce the issues. But when doing the live streams, I can't do anything, right? I'm an Indian guy with my mother tongue being Malayalam and national language being Hindi, so I talk like 4-5 languages in India, but we don't usually use English in India. So my English skills, or at least the syntax and the sentence framing, will not be that perfect like you guys who are born in an English speaking country. So do consider that and forgive me. Okay, buddy, I'm moving out. See you guys on the next one. Bye for now.